my auntie, Mrs. Jevia, and other.
The very encouraging words of the chairman. What I expected was that he would just ask us to take a bow and leave, because the Right Honorable Chairman has identified what our challenges are, and I want to say, Mr. Chairman and members of the House, that even though the chairman has asked us to just go straight to the 2023 budget defense, I want to take this opportunity to please express my gratitude to the House and this committee in particular. This is probably a farewell budget defense, especially for me. I want to express my gratitude to the chairman in the last 7 years for his understanding, and the entire members of this committee for their support. Mr. Chairman, sir, if I'm glad that you are asking us to go straight to 2023 budget defense, and I think in that case I'll probably commence with page, I'll refer you, sir, to page 42 of this document in front of you, sir, if I'm to proceed directly to 2023. Mr. Chairman, can I proceed? Mr. Chairman, sir, just before I go to the facts and the figures on page 42, please, I want to draw your attention and that of the Honorable House to the fact that the Minister of Information, as usual, has been dealt a very heavy card in this year's budgetary allocation. Mr. Chairman, sir, you will recall that in 2022, the National Assembly approved 2.5 billion naira for this ministry as capital, that is for both information and culture, of which 1 billion of it belonged to information. Your Excellency, this year, the capital provision for the entire Ministry of Information and Culture is 869 million, of which only 345 is for information and culture. Sorry, only the 345 is only for the information arm. Honorable Chairman and the honorable members, I fully understand the economic challenges the country is facing. But I don't agree that the Ministry of Information and Culture at this critical time should have less. Actually, we should have more. And this is because it's in times of challenges, hardship, and headwinds like this that you need your Ministry of Information, in particular, not only to chronicle what you have achieved despite lack of funds, but to combat fake news, disinformation, hate speech, which today has attained quite a height that is threatening our very existence as a country. While I admit that our sources of revenue have dwindled, but there's no better time to have more money for the Ministry of Information and Culture. I did argue this even at the level of executive. And I said that even if we stop any capital project today, if the Ministry of Information and Culture is giving enough money, we can be chronicling and be telling the world every day what we have achieved in the last 8 years. So, Mr. Chairman, this is a remark that whatever you can do, Mr. Chairman, and this Honorable House, these 345 million capital expenditure, I don't know what to do with it, Mr. Chairman. I don't know where to start. I mean, this is a ministry that is used to setting flagship programs like town hall meetings, visit to federal government projects, testimony series, documentaries. I don't know where to start. So, Mr. Chairman, sir, I think it's important for you to note, because if you expect so much from us, which is true, the least we can do for us is also to provide the tools and the wherewithal to do so. I want to take I want to refer to the chairman's speech that the budgetary allocation to Ministry of Information and Culture is less than what some states even receive for their own Ministry of Information. And Mr. Chairman, sir, when you look at, I also listen very carefully to the second part of that statement. We said that this also calls for the various parastatals under the federal government, under the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, to ramp up their efforts to increase internal generated revenue. Mr. Chairman, honorable bosses, our contribution as a ministry to peace and stability is not quantifiable. So when you start judging us from the same template with other ministries, I think we're forgetting the fact that our contribution, deepening understanding between the government and the governed, ensuring that disinformation is tackled every day, cannot be quantified. Mr. Chairman, so only last week, the United States of America issued a security alert, unverified, and we all know how we had to battle to save not just the stability and unity, but even our economy from it. And this is why at this time, when we are facing these challenges, the Ministry of Information and Culture, and especially the Ministry of the Information Arm, needs more money. And Mr. Chairman, sir, when I talk about government, it includes the National Assembly. Because there's no day we don't receive, directives from this honorable house to embark on one advocacy or the other. So, Mr. Chairman, sir, honestly, with this 345 million naira, I don't know how we can survive. So, having said that, Mr. Chairman, sir, I don't think there's nothing more to say. And we said that I've been given 345 million, while this time last year I had 1 billion naira. So, Mr. Chairman, so that is for the capital budget. But for personnel, the personnel remains, this year is 4.13 billion. But Mr. Chairman and honorable members, you know that personnel is generated from Ministry of Budget and Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, and so we have little or no control over it. The overhead this year is 959 million, which again is a far cry from what we had last year. Then the capital-related information sector, I've said, and the capital-related culture sector is there, and what is common to both of us is 217 million. Mr. Chairman, sir, then I will probably, this is the breakdown is what is contained in 44 to 45. But Mr. Chairman, what has happened to me did not spare my parastatals either. As a matter of fact, Mr. Chairman, sir, you will note that most of my parastatals, some of them are giving just 5 million naira capital project this year. I will just give a few examples, Mr. Chairman, sir. Last year, sir, the NTA was giving for, I think, sir, 400 but we had 1.97 billion capital project last year. Mr. Chairman, this year they have only 457 million. FRCN last year had 921 million. This year they were given a pottery 181 million. This is a year we have national elections, not only national general elections, we also have population census. I mean, what more time do you want to empower your Minister of Information than a year of election and a year of census? And we expect FRCN, NTA, Voice of Nigeria to perform wonders. I'll be surprised if there will be enough for them to buy diesel. Mr. Chairman, sir, again, you see APCON, which is got to 58 million last year. They were giving 5.9 million this year. So, Mr. Chairman, what I'm saying, sir, is that we've been dealt a very heavy card, a very heavy hand. And I don't want to come here and start complaining why we cannot do A, B, or C. But the situation we have on hand, Mr. Chairman, so we can, this is, I don't think there's anything more to say, Mr. Chairman, honorable members, than that you should please understand that this ministry needs minimum 10 times what it is being given this year. We want to perform, we want to do our best, but I must say that despite all this, if you go to our revenue generation, it has been a marked improvement from what we had last year. As a matter of fact, I can say confidently that we have more than 30%, we have more than 30%, overperformed over last year, because last year we had only about 39 million, and this year we have about 53 million. So given the right tools, even in the area of revenue generation, will do much better. So, Mr. Chairman, sir, since this will be my valedictory budget defense, I want to remember you forever. And what you can do for me, Mr. Chairman, is to jack up my budgetary provision so that I will be a pride to you also and will perform better. Thank you very much, sir.
4-5 capital project, there's no need to defend it. You don't need it, or you don't.
Am I saying that? No, Mr. Chairman, sir, actually, what I expected from you, sir, is to be my advocate and say, what? 345 million for this information in 2023? No. Executive, you must tack it up. What do I expect from me, Mr. Chairman, sir?
I quite agree with you.
You agree with me? Thank you, sir.
What I'm saying now, that is for you to defend whatever. We are practicing envelope, the budget envelope. And we are not the one allocate the envelope.
Yes.
It's the executive that allocate the envelope to each ministries. And this is exactly what was given to you. I think before coming here, you're supposed to take the fight back to the executive, the body of executive. For us here, we share the same idea. I always want the nation to see the information as one of the security agencies that are supposed to be funding the way they fund the security agencies. Because information is power. Like you said recently, when there's rumor of this fake whatever, whether it's new or whether it's genuine or not, we need the Minister of Information to prove to the nation that this is not true and this is the true position of things. So when you are not being funded, what do they expect you to do? So we all agree with you on this. But it's the president who is in charge. Whether you give the responsibility to the Minister of Finance or not, the whole ball go back to the president. And I don't think from this end we can do more than what we have done.
Chairman, I agree with you. To answer the first, so that 345, I've pocketed it already, sir. I'm only asking for more. Mr. Chairman, but on a more serious note, sir, I want you to please stand up for me. You see, your voice is respected at the executive. You are the chairman. This is the House Committee on Information. And I've told you two things. There's election in 2023. There's census in 2023. If only for that alone. I think, sir, that you should stand up for me. In addition to approving this one and jacking it up, sir. Thank you very much.
Lai Mohammed, you are a member of First Family when we are doing merger in 2014 and 2015. And everybody respects you as a prime minister, if I can put it this way, in this government between 2015 to date. This budget was presented to members of the Federal Executive Council and was argued extensively. And as I know you, based on your background, you are a communicative communicator. To be able to argue out what is required of an argument. You couldn't get it at the state, as the Federal Executive Council. And now you expect us to be more Catholic than a Pope. to go extra length and do what is required of Ministry of Information, which at the end of the day is the same federal government that can come out through information system to blackmail members of the National Assembly by saying that we are padding a budget. So this situation, I want you to understand that we are being placed between a devil and a deep blue sea. What I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that this Ministry of Information are even expected to benefit from a service-wide vote. And you are entitled to non-regular allowance, just like is applicable to other security agencies. Because we are talking, this is a matter of national emergency and national priority. Members of armed forces and other agents of coercion can be on the field, but only few Nigerians can appreciate what they are doing in as much as information is not reached out to the entire members of the country. What I'm trying to say in a nutshell, no matter how much they have succeeded in the field, in as much as it's not known to a common Nigeria as far as Nigerians are concerned, they are not doing anything. So, sir, if you look at your budget for last year, up till now, we are in November 1st or 2nd. It's only 50% that was released. So it's one thing to provide budgetary allocation, it's another thing to have effective releases. Sir, it's the same government that is trying to propagate, advertise, let Nigerians know about her performance in 8 years, allocating this kind of figure. In other words, it's like you have performed, but you don't want members of the public to know much about it. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is you should even pray that before 29 May, which you have less than 5 months, less 1 day, to perform this budget, to perform with this budget, let there be releases, so that you can use between January to 29th May, which was your last statement nationally, to advertise the achievement of this government. And in most cases, based on procedure and precedence, transition budget is normally being augmented by a supplementary budget before the end of the first year of the new government. So even if you are given 1 billion or 2 billion, in as much as there will be no releases between January 29 May to 29 May, the new government may not be willing to advertise your own project. The new government may not be willing to let Nigerians know about your achievement. So, sir, in my own understanding, or to my own understanding, all Nigerians should sympathize with you, but Nigerians will not be more Catholic than the Pope. It's the executive that is doing this, and this government is being operated, controlled, headed by the same party. And the same party that wants her projects to be known to other members of the public is not willing to do so through Ministry of Information. So we have a lot of issues. How do you want us to do that? If you have a technique based on your experience to advise us, we can have a closed door session. You have members of your agencies here. Success of Ministry of Information is determined by their own various successes. And any attempt on their way or on their side to fail is a collective failure on the part of the Ministry of Information, which is by extension complete failure on the part of the general government. So, sir, we have to look at this thing. You advise us. We can ask members of the press to go out. We have a dyadic encounter in an executive session to tell each other the truth on the way and manner we are going to assist the Information Ministry. It's very, very important. Thank you.
It is to the fore of our national issues, our inability as a nation to generate enough revenue to fund ourselves. fund the government's operations. So it is beyond sitting back to allocate figures. Our revenue base is poor. We have a lot to do. And this ministry is also at the core of it. We need a lot of enlightenment, a lot of education and re-education of our citizens on the roles and responsibilities of every citizen in building a strong national economy. You cannot give more than you have. The Ministry of Finance and our sisters from revenue agencies have put together what is available to the federal government, and based on that, to a great extent, we could see there was a high level of borrowing with debt servicing. So what do we do? Because it's embarrassing that in the last 8 years, we've not done budget much more than $30 billion. All these figures you see being bandied from 4 trillion naira, 8 trillion, 12, 15, and 20 trillion this year. If you check with the exchange rate today, Nigerian budget hovers around $30 billion. And it cannot touch anybody unless we are ready to increase our revenue base and use all the means we have and pull resources together and capitalize some of our assets. If we do not, as a nation, build the critical infrastructure that will give us money, or including information, it's a critical infrastructure for national development. Why are we saying this? Nigeria as a nation, without a budget of $100 billion, cannot grow. Our infrastructural funding deficit is a major challenge for economic growth. So we must be productive, but put the right infrastructure for growth. So you can't blame anybody now until we sit back and decide not doing $30 billion budget. But we must look for a way from our both natural and human capacity and increase our budget to about $100 billion, so that by the time you finish whatever you have with recurrent and overhead, you must have at least 50% of the budget for capital growth. So these are the areas we are looking at. So we don't blame anybody now. It is for all of us. There's no purpose now. We must take it up ourselves, create peace in our nation. A good number of our national life has been unproductive. Farmers have been chased out of farms by bandits. Northeast have not been productive in the last 9 years. War, ongoing. Zana, my friend, is from there. We're capable of producing wheat from Chad Basin, but we are not doing anything because it's been war ravaged for over 12 years. We're investing, we are funding war, but we're not in a state of, we're in a state of war. So we need communication to instill peace and order. So, but we must work hard as a nation, pull ourselves together. It's only when there is peace in our land, then there must be prosperity. I want to thank you for your information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable colleagues, Honorable Minister, I'm sure that Honorable Minister is aware of the present situation of the nation as regards the revenue generation. However, with the submissions of everybody today here, it's like the budget for the information is one way or the other rejected, because this is improper and this is not enough for an agency of information to perform its duty. How to generate the revenue is in the purview of some agencies, not the Ministry of Information. The Ministry of Information was established for a purpose, and the government must provide the instrument to perform their duty. And the duty to perform the duty is to fund the Ministry of, unless we say we will agree that the Ministry of Information is no more, the service is no more needed, then we can scrap the Ministry of Information from performing their duty. If they will continue to be performing their duty, then fund must, one way or the other, be given to them. So, Honorable Minister, I don't know whether you still have one or two things to say before. Okay, I give the floor to you.
5 is grossly inadequate. How it got here, I think, is another issue. Of course, I defended it, but I didn't get more than this. And when you now say you can't be more Catholic than the Pope, I don't agree, sir. We are the Catholic, you are the Pope. This is why I've come here. You have the power of appropriation. And believe me, sir, and I'm particularly impressed by the contribution of members. We're talking about banditry, sir. Talking about oil theft. Talking about terrorism. The more reason why you need a government that will be speaking every moment. Calm down the people, reassure them, fight disinformation. And there's no better time. So honestly, you are our last hope. So because I've tried my best. No doubt that we have challenges in revenue. Oh, I admit that. About a month ago, I went to the NNPC, and for 90 minutes I flew in a helicopter over the oil-producing area, and I saw how, in broad daylight, pipelines were being vandalized, and our oil was being stolen. It became an industry. So I understand this very well. And of course, anybody's talking about, I tell people that our problem is not the economy, it's security. Because if we are losing 700 barrels of food, 700,000 barrels of food a day, you know what that translates to in terms of money? If our farmers cannot go to work, then there will be famine. So there is no better time than for the Ministry of Information budget to be increased than now. So, Chairman, sir, I do have suggestions, but I cannot make it here. And please, I want an early date to come and meet you, sir, because you are the Pope, we are the Catholic, so you can help us.
Excuse me, sir. We don't want to agree with that because you are our elder. There is no we can be Pope, then you are the Catholic. You are the Pope because you are the one advertising your achievement for 8 years. For us, just to assist you, facilitate that. And another thing, as you said, there are some things that are better left unsaid here. Yes. It's better we have a closed-door discussion. If I can give you an example, for instance, if agents of coercion are talking of non-kinetic approach to ending this menace in the country, substantial part of non-kinetic approach is informative in nature. Whether we like it or not, you cannot be giving military outfits and other agents of coercion huge amount of money in the name of non-kinetic, while the information ministry is being suffered. It's suffering from short allocation. I don't think.
You are already saying what when you can have interactive with the members of the committee, then we can now agree on the way forward. However, we have already taken what you just said. Your request is taken, and we will take it up with the right appropriate quota. Thank you very much. At this point, I think we can allow the Honorable Minister and his team to take his leave. Then we'll take up with the agencies.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.